thank you for taking the time to look into the United States Ninpo Academy's curriculum. Today's video is going to be on Mukyu. This is the very first test in the United States Ninpo Academy's manual. For those individuals who have purchased the manual, again, thank you. Many people have. This video is to help you train. This video is going to be set up for the very beginning page of Mukyu, which is the 10th test, and then each test in the manual goes from 10th, 9th, all the way down to first Q, which is Ichi-Q, and then over to first degree black belt, and then it works its way to 10th degree black belt. That's kind of how the cycle works. But before we talk a little bit about the United States Ninpo Academy curriculum, I just briefly want to touch on Ninpo curriculums in general. There's many organizations out there, and each organization has strict guidelines on what needs to be taught. And many instructors have to follow a certain manual or a certain book or certain prescribed things that come from Japan, and there's no deviation from it. One of the gifts of the Bujinkan, those instructors who have reached a certain level and had gotten permission from their teacher, which I have. I'd like to thank you, Shihan Filiger, for giving me the liberties to be able to teach the curriculum the way that I see fit for my students, and I feel that's something I've earned over 30 years of training. But many organizations have set guidelines, and I'm no way saying with this video that mine are the best or even what should be taught in the very beginning levels. But this is what I have chosen to do for my students. So for those individuals that train in the United States Ninpo Academy, this video is going to help you. If you train in another organization and it's done differently, please follow those instructions. Thank you. Kamae! When you enter a Japanese school, there's generally a spot where you enter the mats and where you leave the mats. Those are usually the same spot. You should never enter the mat at any old random spot, even if other individuals are coming on in different locations. Generally find the spot to where the senior people are entering the mat and leaving the mat. There's always some type of a gateway to where you should enter and you should leave. So when you come onto a dojo, let's say this is where the spot is that everyone reached. I'm going to face a shrine or a kamidana or something important. I'm going to step forward with my left foot. Konbanwa! And I'm usually going to give a greeting. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, that kind of thing. I'm going to give a greeting to let people know that I'm here. I'm going to be pretty loud about it. Hey, I've left my work, my family, my loved ones. I've left all these things that I've come to this place for all of us to train, and I want to be recognized that I'm here. So you don't enter quietly. When you get there, make sure that you step in, you bow, and kind of announce yourself, and use the greeting, either good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Good morning is Ohayo gozaimasu. In the afternoon, use konnichiwa. In the evening, use ganbawa. Those are the three normal phrases. There's ways where if you're training with a partner, you step in with your left foot, you bow, onegaishimasu. Say onegaishimasu, which means please teach or please respect me. So you step in and you small bow, right? So it doesn't have to be this big bow at the waist. Basically, it's a small 30-degree bow. Eye contact should be generally on the person, not so much eye to eye. And you should have this general soft peacefulness to yourself. There should be a little bit of harmony there. So it's not a quick thing. You don't make any sound. You step in and it's very gentle. Konbanwa. Right? And then you go into your training, you do whatever training you have to do, and at the end, you bow again. Domo arigato. You say domo arigato. It basically means thank you. Domo arigato. Make eye contact and then step back with your left foot. Right? So this section is called Dojo Rei. It's basically how to enter a school, how to leave a school, and how to bow to your training partner. One of the most important things I see all the time is two people come in front of each other training, and then they start doing this bobbing and weaving, and they don't bow together and come up together. Generally, the highest ranking student should initiate the bow. So the higher ranking student is going to frame himself out. He's going to start to move just slightly. And then both people are going to bow together, and then they're going to come up together, right? And then they're going to train. And when it's done, the same thing. So I don't just come up here and I don't just bow without this person recognizing me. I'm going to step in and show him with this left foot step that I'm getting ready to bow so he can respond. And I'm going to wait, and I'm going to stand there. And then he's going to look. He's going to eventually get what's going on. And I'm going to slowly start to move until he catches on. And then once the bow happens, then we bow, domo arigato, and then I step back up, and then I step back with my left foot. The stepping forward with your left foot and stepping back with your left foot is kind of important. By stepping in with your left foot, mentally you're preparing yourself. It's kind of like that Sun Tzu, that invisible gray line on the battlefield, that once you've crossed over that line, you are now in combat. You are now in war. And you must know when you are in combat. You must know when you are in war. You must know when you are in danger and when you're safe. And stepping forward with that left foot is preparing you mentally and physically to be able to go into battle. And then when you bow, you say onegaishimasu, and then you go into training. And then when the training is over, again, I'm going to step forward with my left foot. I'm going to calm myself, and I'm going to thank him for the training. I'm going to thank him for the knowledge I've received, and I'm also kind of thanking him for not breaking bones and killing me. There needs to be this graciousness where I'm stepping forward and I'm thanking him for the knowledge that I've received. Domo arigato. And then I'm going to step away with my left foot, and then I can relax. So I'm kind of relaxed. I'm going to go into a frame of mind for training. I'm going to train. I'm going to pay respect. I'm going to step back, and I'm going to relax. And that cycle is going to repeat itself. When it comes time for me to leave the training area, I'm going to do the same thing that I came in. I'm going to go to that specific spot. I'm going to bow, and I'm going to give some type of a greeting. Generally, when you're leaving the dojo, you say sayonara, which basically means goodbye. There's another term called oyasumi nasai, which means good night. So you usually say some type of greeting. You can do it in Japanese or you can do it in English, but some type of greeting would be like appropriate. So if training was over and I was going to leave the mat, I would go to that same entrance point. I would face the people training or the shrine. Sayonara, sayonara. Hey, see you next time. Is seiza. Seiza is how to sit down properly in Japanese. So basically you're going to learn how to take and step back with your left leg first. The left leg is going to go back and the left knee is going to go down to where the right ball of the foot was. Here. Then you're going to repeat that by bringing your right knee to where your right foot is. Your toes are still up. From here you're going to rock back and then rock up slightly and flatten the feet. And then sit down straight with your back straight up. Your hands are going to be in the center of your lap in this position here. Not just any old way. Kind of frame it out. This is kind of like an attention position, you know what I mean, where you're kind of getting in a ready position. So once you're here, make sure your hands are in your lap and your back is straight up. And then when you bow, your left hand comes down, your right hand comes down, small bow, and say onegaishimasu, onegaishimasu. Then when you come up, your right hand comes up first, then your left hand comes up. Then to stand up, you're going to repeat the process. Once you're here in seiza, you're going to rock up to the balls of your feet again. Right? Then your right foot is going to come up. We set down left foot. Your right foot is going to come up because this is kind of a sword draw. And then as I stand, I want to make sure I'm stepping backwards as I stand up. Stepping backwards is a sign of respect. And I'm going to bow. So there's a lot of people with hakumas, and they'll show you how to bang the hakumas out, or if you're wearing a sword, how to twist down to the ground so you turn your sword away from your opponent. But basically this is just, if we're going to start class, you bow in, you loosen up on the training a little bit, and then a lot of times they'll tell you to line up, which is called saritsu. You have to sit down into seiza. So to do that, again, you're going to step forward with your left foot some. Then you're going to step 1, 2, bounce, up, flat, bow, agishimasu. Repeat, balls of the feet, right foot up first, stand, stepping backwards. A lot of people should still tell you the right foot goes down, left foot goes down. I don't care what they do. This is what we're doing, right? So just make sure that when you step forward, your left, right, bounce, flat, bow. Right hand comes up first, so you can draw your secondary weapon. Bring it up your thigh a little bit so you can get any kind of dirt off of your hand. Once it's safe, you come back. We stand up. I'm going to come to the balls of my feet. Right foot comes up first. Stand, step straight backwards. And there's seiza and seiza rei. The rei is the actual bow. Rei means etiquette. So this is the etiquette of bowing. So from seiza, bowing. Left, right, right, left. Framing it out. And make sure you go to the balls of your feet before you sit flat. And come to the balls of your feet before you stand. And when you're in seiza, never step forward. That's kind of a sign of attacking or a sign of offensive. Always step backwards as a sign of respect and etiquette. Seiza and seiza rei. Section is how to bow in and bow out at the beginning of class. So far we've learned how to enter into a dojo. We've learned how to properly sit down. The next stage is to actually go through the benediction of bowing in together. That is known as the Kotodama. That is a spiritual connection, something non-physical. And basically we're paying homage to the individuals that's kept this art alive. We're paying homage to people like Toda Sensei and Takamatsu Sensei, the people that have passed on, people that are on the spiritual level, going back generations and generations and generations. Those individuals that have kept this art alive for us. We're paying thanks to them. Over the years, I've had many people come to me and they've had issues with bowing in because they felt that they were bowing to another god. They were bowing to something beyond their own chosen religion, their own chosen faith. This has nothing to do with any man-made religion. This is tradition and culture and honoring the past, connecting people that are alive, the students that are here training, with the energy and the spirit of those who have passed on, the warriors that have left this knowledge behind for us. We're connecting to that ancient spirit, and we're trying to bind ourselves as a group of individuals into one unit with that culture, with that tradition. So it has absolutely nothing to do with religion. No matter what religion you are, this is honoring Japanese instructors who have left this material for us. We're not worshiping them. We're not bringing them to a level of a god. We're honoring them. We're giving them a sense of recognition. And we're connecting. For many of the basic students who come in, they learn how to sit down, they close their eyes, they go through this motion, they do a pattern that everyone else does, and they have no clue what they're really doing. But in time, you will begin to start to connect with the history of this art. And it'll be a special day for you when that happens. But there's going to be some things that you're going to need to know. One, you're going to yell for saritsu. Saritsu means to line up. Remember, this is a military system, so there's going to be some type of organization that's needed. You're going to come in, there's going to be people moving around, the class is about to start, a higher senior person is going to yell the word saritsu. Saritsu means to line up, and you're going to line up in rank. You know, highest level black belts all the way down to the guy who it's his very first class. You're going to line those people up. And then you're also going to make sure that your toes are on the same line. So you've got a perfect line. You're going to make sure you put your right hand out. You're going to be about the same distance from the guy next to you. And the guy's going to put his arm out to make sure he's the same distance. And the Marine Corps was called dress right dress. But you're going to make sure you got a proper distancing from people. Your toes are lined up. So it's organized. The more organized it is, the more disciplined you are. You're taking a group of individuals and you're bringing them together as one unit. So Saritsa is very important to establish that authority and to get everyone reacting as a team. So you yell Saritsa, and then the next thing, someone is going to yell seiza. They're going to yell seiza, everyone's going to sit down. That was in the second section of the cues. You're going to learn how to sit down in seiza. Next, they're going to give a command for makso. Makso means to enter meditation. And I don't want to get too crazy about meditation because there's definitely a deeper level to this. At the basic level before class, at a beginning level student, at a white belt level, all I want you to be able to do is to put your hands in the proper position. So you're going to put your hands, from the seiza, your right hand is going to be on top of your left, and your thumbs are going to lightly touch. Your shoulders are going to be relaxed, your arms are going to be relaxed, sitting in your lap, and you're going to be here, and your eyes are going to be closed, your lips are going to be shut, and your tongue is going to be in the top of your mouth, and you're going to start to slow your heart rate down. You're going to start breathing in slowly, gently, kind of pausing, not holding your breath, but just not breathing, just kind of a stagnant station. And then let some time go by, and then slowly exhale. And then have that pause, and then inhale. Pause and exhale. And just have that be whatever it needs to be. In the very beginning, if you can go with a 5-2, 5-2 count, it's great. And then work yourself higher and higher and higher until you get to a certain situation where you don't need to count anymore. And this process happens very naturally. So again, enter the dojo, you're in your uniform, you get yelled for Saritsa, you come and line up in rank, the order is given for seiza, you sit down in seiza like we said, then the next command is going to be makso, you're going to go into makso, you're going to close your eyes, close your lips, put the tongue on the top of your mouth, and you start to breathe very slowly and calmly, learn to relax, just get yourself relaxed. What I'm trying to do is have all of these individuals who come from different places, I want to bring them together. I want to get all their work out of their mind. I want to get the stress of driving and traffic out of their mind. What they've got to do when they leave here, what they've got to do tomorrow. I want them to focus on themselves, focus on their training, and focus on the group. And I want them to relax and calm down. That's the number one goal with new students. As you get higher and higher in rank, you're going to do certain things to prepare your mind, your body, and your spirit to absorb and to learn as much as you can at the highest possible level. In the beginning, just learning to relax. So once you're in makso, you're learning to breathe, you're learning to calm down. You're going to hear the order for makso yame. And the word yame means stop. Makso yame! And then you're going to open your hands back into seiza, into your normal position. Eyes are going to open. You're going to be very alert. The next process is the Kotodama process of bowing in. So we have a specific thing that we do. The hands are brought up together while we're in seiza. The word Shiken Haramitsu Daikomyo is spoken. Shiken Haramitsu Daikomyo. Basically the powerful light of wisdom. Everything we encounter in life holds the potential for a higher consciousness that we all seek. And we have to pay attention to the fine details in life to make us aware of the greatest lessons in life, to make us aware of beauty in life, to make us aware of danger in life. But Shiken is the four hearts. You know, that's a merciful heart, a sincere heart, a heart that's in tune with the natural order of the world, and a heart that's dedicated to a chosen pursuit. And each one of those fours have very deep meanings, but if you can just understand that Shiken means that you have the four hearts. And once you have those four hearts, it's going to give birth to a light. That light is Haramitsu, Shiken Haramitsu. That's a light. That's a light that comes from having those four hearts in unison. That light is going to give guidance and directions into the darkest places of the world. That light is also going to be a beacon that's going to attract other searchers that are seeking the wisdom and knowledge that you have. And then Daikomyo. Daikomyo is kind of an eternal energy force. That Daikomyo comes from the endless history, in some cases thousands of years of knowledge that's been passed down from teacher to student, teacher to student, teacher to student. And along the time that's been passed down, life has continued to be learned. Lessons have been learned from life, from martial arts, from living, from different individuals. And the combination of that has continued on to this very day. And because we're practicing it today, is giving a little bit of a guarantee that's going to be into the future. So it's an eternal energy force. So with the four hearts giving birth to a light that guides you, and you have an eternal energy force from the history that is behind us, the knowledge and lessons that we're learning today, and the promise for the future, continuing to keep this art alive, bringing it to a full cycle. So that is the powerful light of wisdom. Shiken Haramitsu Daikomyo. So the hands are going to be in the prayer position. The highest ranking student, teacher, is going to say to himself a small little prayer, and then Shiken Haramitsu Daikomyo. Then there's going to be 2 claps. Those 2 claps are done to banish any type of negativity, to banish any type of evil, any type of negative thoughts, any type of things that's going to weigh the energy down. Negative, pure energy. It's going to banish it. It's going to bring a sense of purity to the area that we're training. And in some ways, those 2 claps also awaken the spirits of the men and women who have trained in this art, that have passed on, that we're looking for guidance from. We're going to awaken those spirits. So before we awaken them, we need to also banish any type of negative energy that's in the room. So the 2 claps are done, and that's going to banish negativity. It's going to awaken the spirits to look upon us. Once we have this purity and the spirits are looking upon us, we're going to bow. And then we're going to come up, and from the bow, we're going to come back up with our hands together, and there's going to be 1 more clap. And that clap is going to now take all of these individuals, and we're going to unite in this purity in the face of the spirits, the guardians of this knowledge, the guardians who look over us from the martial world, from the martial spiritual world. Nothing religious, nothing God, nothing there. These are martial artists. These are men that have passed this knowledge down, and we're honoring them. So 2 claps, purity, awaken the spirits, and we bow. We come back together, and as multiple individuals, we unite. So it's very important that these claps are at the same time. Now that we have united in this purity, in the face of the spirits, we again bow as one unit, and we come up. So that is the Kotodama. That is done at the beginning of the class. So quickly, Makso, Makso Yume. You'll see the head instructor raise his hands. Shiken Haramitsu Daikomyo. Everyone repeats at the exact same time. Shiken Haramitsu Daikomyo. 2 claps. Banishes negativity, awakens the spirits. We bow in that presence, and we bow in the power of this negativity being gone, in this purity. We come back up, and we unite. And now united, we bow again in the purity. And then we come back up, and we're sitting in seiza. So the whole thing would look something like this. Srutz! People line up. Seiza. Makso. Makso Yume. Shiken Haramitsu Daikomyo. Then, once you turn around, the highest ranking student, the Dai Senpai, is going to give a small little command. And he's going to say something in Japanese that everyone is going to honor, right? So he's going to say, Shisei o Tadashide, Sensei, Nire. Shisei o Tadashide, Sensei, Nire. If you don't know how to say that, just say, Sensei, Nire. And that basically means, Shisei o Tadashide, Sensei, Nire means to basically sit up, get yourself squared away, present yourself to the teacher, you know? So kind of like you get the command for a ten-hut. This is the same thing. Shisei o Tadashide, Sensei, Nire. And everybody sits up. And then everyone bows to the teacher, and then this time verbalizing, saying, Konnichiwa, Ohayou gozaimasu, Onegai shimasu. Generally, Onegai shimasu. If it's a large group, you'll say Onegai shimasu, which again means to please teach and or respect me. Onegai shimasu. So that is the Kotodama. It's done in the very beginning of class to unite everyone. And at the very end of the class, it's done to have this unification again, but with all the knowledge that was learned, and hopefully light that was developed, to take that light into the real world, So at the end, we seal that energy that we've absorbed and we've created through our training, and we take that into the real world to bring light into the darkest places of the real world, the ultimate goal of utopia. So that is the whole process of the Kotodama. And hopefully I'll have some students, eventually I'll put a nice video together of all the students demonstrating and showing that Kotodama process. That is how to begin and to... The next section, section 4, is on Kamae. So briefly, Kamae, a lot of people refer to them as stances or postures, but the correct terminology I want you to think about is a Kamae is an attitude. A Kamae is a way of being. It's a way of feeling. It's a way of thinking. It's a way that's non-physical in the very beginning. And then that non-physical aspects of your emotions, your thoughts, your energies being reflected into a physical position is truly what a Kamae is. So a Kamae is just not a way to physically stand. A Kamae is your body reflecting an intention. It's reflecting what needs to be done. And many times as part of a philosophy, if I need to control someone or manipulate someone or make someone move, or I need to stop them from moving, or I need to control which direction they move, I can use my body to do that. But I also have to have my mind and my spirit and my energy projecting. If that's not happening, then I'm just flesh and bones standing here, and someone who's faster, stronger, more talented is going to defeat someone who's not. But if I can use my spirit, use my energy to project my energy, to protect myself from bad intentions, if I can learn to harness my energy so I can control my fears and I can control my aggression. Sometimes if you get into a Kamae and you're too overly aggressive, you can become unbalanced. If you're in a physical stance, but yet your heart and your mind is not prepared to go into battle, you're going to easily be defeated. So even though Kamaes are basically done by standing in a position, I want you to focus more on the meaning of those positions. Well, the first Kamae is called Shizen no Kamae. And the word Shizen basically means natural. So Shizen's a natural standing position, and Kamae is kind of a stance or a posture. So with Shizen, I want to have my hands out in front of me. So I don't want to have them here or behind me, or where I can't move them to the left and to the right. I need my hands to be out in front of me so they can naturally move. So if I needed to do something with my hands, so they're not touching my legs, they're not too far out in front to where I've got to use muscle tension to raise my arms. That's not natural, right? I don't want to have my shoulders up, or I don't want to be like this posture here where I'm in a fighting stance. Shizen's very natural, so it's a very natural position. So this is Shizen, and then I can relax, right? Shizen, right? So if you've seen, this is kind of a natural standing position, and then if I go to Shizen, I relax. Shizen. So I am lowering my knees slightly. I'm getting a little bit into what I would say maybe an athletic position. I want my knees to be bent so I can move if I need it to be, but yet I want to be relaxed. I don't want to be too relaxed where I'm sloppy. I have a little bit of tension, and I'm going to be here, right? And my mind is going to be very, very calm. They use the term called mushin, and the word mushin basically means to have emptiness, to have purity, to have no thought, to be very pure in my thoughts, to not be focused on any one certain thing, because if I'm focused on one certain thing, I may miss something else very important around me. So when I go into Shizen, I need to be a central focal point, but I need to be all the way around aware. I need to be realizing what's going on in front of me, to the sides of me, behind me, above me, possibly below me. So I just need to be relaxed. I need to be focused. I almost need to be honed in like Makso, but I need to be very much aware, Shizen, right? So I'm very calm. It's a very calming position. It's funny that this is the very first position, but in a real life situation, it's probably the hardest one to actually fight from. But when you can learn to calm your heart and calm your mind, and you can kind of get in tune with everything that's going around you, this is a very advanced high-level technique. But in the beginning, it's just learning how to relax. Here, relax. Shizen no Kamae. Now, you obviously can do with your feet 50-50. You can relax and be still with your left foot forward slightly, your right foot forward slightly, and sometimes this angle may give you an advantage or a disadvantage. Generally though, it's going to also take things away from you by having one foot forward or your left foot forward. That's also going to limit you. So there's a part of strategy or hihojitsu that comes into play by having one foot forward and other. The higher level, you're going to be very stationary, which allows you to go right side or left side and give you much more options. So this is Shizen no Kamae. So during testing, I'm going to say, okay, come out in front of me, you're going to come out in front of me. I'm going to see we're in the Kamae section. Show me Shizen no Kamae and tell me its attitude. And you're going to go like this. Hai sensei, Shizen no Kamae. You're going to verbally say it so I know you know how to pronounce it correctly. Shizen no Kamae. You're going to step forward with your left foot and you're going to go into Kamae. I'm going to ask you, what is the feeling of Shizen no Kamae? You're going to say your feeling of Shizen is Mushin. And I'm going to say, what does Mushin mean? You're going to see Mushin means to be kind of one with everything. Very relaxed, very neutral. No intention to anything, but yet aware of everything. No thought, no mind, just relaxed. Mushin. I'm going to say, great. That's Kamae number one. The next attitude or posture is Katate Ichi Manji no Kamae. This is the Kamae that you're going to use most of the time when we're doing any type of training. And I just want to talk because I know a lot of people who train other styles of martial arts may see this and say, I would never fight in this position. This is stupid to be in this position. This is going to get you killed. This is going to get you hurt. I would never run around and fight people like this. Well, you do what you practice. You practice this Kamae, you learn this attitude, you learn how to do what the attitude means. This Kamae will save your life. And I'm a strong believer of that. When you're in just a regular fighting position, that means that you're committed to fighting. And in Ninpo, it's not necessarily we're trying to be fighters. Ninpos, we're winners, we're survivors. And if we have to win the fight to survive, we will. If we have to kill our opponent to win the fight, we will. But if we can leave the area without anyone seeing us or anything happening, is the highest levels. But when you get into a physical position to fight, you have to have a spiritual backing behind it. So again, a Shizen is Mushin. Katate Ichi Manji no Kamae is basically meaning to manipulate or learning how to control your opponent, to control his movements. And the way that I want you to practice that is starting here, bringing your hands like almost to a prayer position, and then turning your body sideways. Right? So your chin is directly underneath your forward hand, and your other hand is out in front of you. Right? So if I turn slightly on an angle, so you can see this here. This is protecting me. This is here in front, protecting. This is sending energy out. If I put this hand into his eyes, I can control. If I put the hand to the heart, I can control. If I move my hand to the left, I'm going to make him go to the right. If I move my hand to the right, it's going to make him go to the left. If he starts to come forward on me and I bring my hands down to Gedan and I focus towards his feet, I can stop his movement. So by changing my thoughts, changing my intentions in my mind and my spirit, and then changing that as it reflects through my body, I need to send energy with this Kamae. I can't just bring my hands up like somebody would bring their hands up. This is an attitude that's projecting energy. So my hands are casting, almost pushing away as I step back to Kamae. Whether I go right side or left side, I want to be here. The important part is that your back foot is facing 45 degrees away. And your back knee is coming over top of your toes. And many times I tell people to put their toes on a wall and bring their knee until it touches the wall itself. So the toes and the knee are on the same line as the wall. That shows you how far. You don't want to have your knee too far past your leg. It puts a lot of stress on it. but you don't want to stand too tall because it's slow and it doesn't give you a good range of movement. This back foot at 45 degrees, this hand here, this hand here. I switch, I go here. Making sure that I'm narrow. I want to almost turn sideways, be here. So I don't want to be square. I want to be sideways. But my feet are directly under my shoulders. So when I step back to Kamae, I don't want to step back and be on a balance beam. Right? When I step back in straight line to my shoulder. I'm going straight back, turning 45 degrees. That gives me balance. It allows this foot to move forward easily. If I have my foot behind myself, as I move forward, I have to come around my leg. I want to have this foot to be able to move forward, right? There's a technique called Yoko Ruki, so where we learn to move. I want to make sure that this foot can move in front. So when I'm in Kamae, same thing. If I'm going to kick, or if I'm going to punch, I want this to have room. If I'm on a balance beam, then I have to come forward and bring this foot around. So make sure that when you're here, this foot steps straight back. It's just straight back. In line with the shoulder. Straight back. And then the foot opens 45 degrees. Then the knee comes directly in line with it. This hand comes dead center to your opponent's heart or his eyes. If you're sending energy into his heart, you're trying to affect his will, his courage. If you put your hands into his eyes, you're trying to reflect his thoughts, his mind. To the heart is at the highest level. And to the eyes, you put your hand up in someone's eyes and you disperse their thoughts and their vision, it'll have an effect. But unless you're projecting energy, none of this will work. So you've got to learn to project your energy, to manipulate or to control your energy. So when I step into this Kamae, I'm pushing energy forward. Stop. Stop. If he doesn't stop and continues to come, I want to open up and control him to come this way, or close him off and make him go this way. Or if he starts to come forward, stop and go down on his feet to make him think about his feet, to make him aware of his legs, so he stops coming forward. If he keeps coming, your energy is weak. The more energy you put out, he's going to start to control and manipulate by your physical movements. So that's the purpose of this Kamae. So in this Kamae section, there is 2 Kamaes, Shizen no Kamae, and then Katate Ichi Manji no Kamae. Right side and left side. Katate Ichi Manji no Kamae. Again, it's pushing out. Never bring your hands up. He can catch them, break them. Here, pushing out, stop. This feeling, stop. If he moves, you move. And you stay in this position. So when he attacks, you can move. Right? So that's the basic Kamae, Katate Ichi Manji no Kamae. The next section is section 5. This is how to attack. There's going to be a couple different ways. So again, in review, we've learned how to enter a dojo. We've learned how to sit down. We've learned how to bow in. We've learned some basic fighting postures and attitudes. The next is we're going to learn how to attack. So we're going to learn how to use something called a fudoken, which is a conventional fist. We're going to learn something called a kitan-ken, which a kitan-ken is this position of the hand, but using it as an open strike. So it's not like a rigid knife hand, like a karate type chop. The kitan-ken is kind of a bridge, and the thumb is connected to the top part there to the bone structures. And the fist is loose, and then it's going to open on impact. So there needs to be an impact explosion on the strike. This is called a kitan ken. There's many different ways to use this strike, but we're going to be using the pad of the outside of the hand. And then we're also going to be working with something called sokuyaku ken, which is our basic first stomp kick. But for fudo ken, which is basically also known as skeet or thrust, we're going to start from katate ichimonji no kamae, and then we're going to step forward with our body and then punch. Right? So the punch, first of all, there's a lot of styles out there where this is very smooth, and they'll do something that's just kind of smooth for training. And if that's the way you want to train, that's fine. But if you're going to actually practice hitting someone, and eventually point in time, you have to learn how to be in Kamae and actually learn how to strike and have a certain amount of body turn, hip turn, shoulder turn, your whole weight behind that penetrating strike. Making sure that you're striking with the first two knuckles, and those two knuckles are lined up with the two bones in the forearm. So your fist has to be pointed down some. It can't be straight. I'm not just hitting with my whole hand. I'm penetrating in with the first two knuckles. I'm never punching and locking my elbow. I'm always keeping my elbow bent a little tiny bit. So from Kamae, I'm punching and then I'm rocking back to Kamae so I can strike with my left hand. Right? So if I'm here, you see there's a certain amount of energy that's being pushed with my whole body coming into that strike. You can actually hear my gi pop on my arm when I hit. You want to actually put the power into it. So you're going to practice that right side and left side, right side and left side. So you practice Kamae, so each, and rock back to Kamae, and knee, and rock back to Kamae. So you get this transition of punching forward until your front knee is over top of your toes. Just like we were in Kamae, and we put our toes on the wall, we made our knee touch. Same thing here. When I punch forward, I want my knee to be directly over top my toes and my back foot to be facing 45 degrees. So when I rock my way back, I'm in Kamae. So from my punch to my Kamae, my feet do not need to change. That's important. That's going to also play with your weapons. So once you learn the foundation of Ninpo with empty hands, all of the weapons become second nature. You don't have to learn a whole new way of movement just because you have a weapon in your hand. The movement stays the same. So again, from Kamae, step, punch, back, punch, back, punch, back, Kamae. So that's Fudoken. And with this conventional hand, there's many ways to do it. You have punching up, punching down, raking with the knuckles. There's all these different terms. A-ken, un-ken, Kongo-ken. There's different ways of hitting with the hand. But in this particular way, very beginning, just stepping forward and punching. A lot of people say that the hand and the foot should hit at the same time. I believe that the hand should be ahead of the feet. The body should be still moving. So when I hit, my body's coming forward. I don't want to have my body coming forward and then just using my arm to hit. There needs to be an inertia of my entire body moving forward, from almost like stepping, pushing someone as hard as you can. The same thing is with the punch, pushing this, making sure that hand pops out with the strike. All right? And put some gloves on and practice hitting a heavy bag, or get one of those rubberized bobs and strike that. Or have someone get a chest protector and practice punching into something. Don't just punch into the air. Practice hitting something, developing that power to push and drive through once you get a little resistance with the body. And then put weights in your hands and practice punching with weights in your hands to build up your arm speed and just getting used to that. Light conditioning on your knuckles to make sure that when you hit somebody, it doesn't bust your knuckles all over. So like a makuwari board, or just using something gently. You don't have to beat these hands and your fingers to pulp to where you can't close your hands, but you will need to do some conditioning on them. You know what I'm saying? There definitely needs to be a little conditioning if you've never done it. So that is how you strike with Fudoken. The next one is a mote shuto. So mote shuto is going to be done with that Kitan Ken. The omote means it's coming from the outside. The shuto is the action of the hands. It's kind of like a cutting motion, right? So this is referred to as omote shuto. So again, we're going to start from Katate Ichi Munji no Kamae. And this time as we attack, this hand is going to come straight up. So it's going to move straight up to the elbow comes dead center of my body, right? So from here, the elbow comes dead center to my body. My hand is on the left side of my face. This is still guarding here. Then a lightly clenched fist. This is going to come over my forehead and then strike with the Kitan Ken position, right? So here, up and around. It's making like a circle. Up and around. It's not coming way out here. It's kind of coming down on what they call kasagiri on that angle there, right? It's coming here, but it's striking as I'm moving forward, right? So you see my body's moving forward as I'm striking with it. Right? Here, striking, back to Kamae. Being able to do it right side and left side. Omote shuto. Ich, in, so, shi, go, rock, teach, punch, ku, ju. That's omote shuto. Next is omote shuto. So we're going to combine the joranuke, the basic block, with the omote shuto. Here's how it would look with a partner. Onishimasu. Onishimasu. Come on. And punch. So the important part is, go back to this punch here, this side here. When the punch comes in, punch is coming in, I'm doing my proper backwards 45 hit. And that opens that up. And then I'm just stepping straight forward, hitting that to take the person down. We switch so you can see it. So it's Kamae corner here, punches in, other side, here. Next is urashuto. Urashuto, coming on the inside against a jodan. So person punches in. So here, same thing. The punch comes in. 45 degrees. Top jodan. Elbow center. This allows me to come mote shuto, straight forward, or urashuto. And then my body weight comes forward. Urashuto. Switch. Here, Kamae, angle, so, here. Hey, so, Next is going to be urashuto. Urashuto again is with the Kitan Ken hand position. And the exact same movement as we did earlier, where we're going to be here. As we come forward, we're going to bring this elbow dead center and the hand to the same position as we did for the omote shuto. This time from here, the ora is going to come from this elbow centered position. The hand is going to come forward, forward. It's going to come in line with your shoulder. So it's not going to stop center, it's going to come through. It's very important. So we do sword draws and cuts. We're learning to come through. There's also a slight down angle from the ora shuto. So we're here, up, down. Again, back to Kamae. Okay, so slight angle here, down. H. Making sure that the knee comes forward. So you're in this posture here. So you come back, it's full range of movements. But don't stop, come forward with your full motion, right? Ura shuto, right side, left side. And strike, making sure again, like the punch, there's some fortitude behind it, you know? So when you hit somebody, it has an effect, you know? You hit, it's gonna hit to the neck, to the temple. It's gonna have an effect, right? We don't wanna just piss somebody off. If we're gonna hit them, we wanna hurt them. And we wanna hurt them as bad as we can possibly hurt them to stop the threat. That's our only purpose, is to stop the threat. Nothing else. So we're in Kamae, forward, stop. Kamae, back, Kamae. Right here. H. B. So. See, straight. Make sure body is coming forward on that. H. Back to Kamae. Last but not least, is Sokuyakuken. Sokuyakuken is using the heel of your foot like we're pushing down a door. This one is difficult for some people, especially if you don't have flexibility in your legs. You've got something in the way of your kick. You've got to be able to get your knee up. So by doing that, we want to actually bring our foot flat with our heel pushing forward, our toes backwards. So we can push with the heel. So it's not a kick to where it comes low and it comes from low, stays low, stays low, stays low, and comes up. This is the opposite. It comes up and goes forward. So from Kamae, my hands are going to come up to a neutral position, a martial position. I'm not doing nothing special with them, but I want to make sure they're alive. There's energy in them. I don't want to leave my hands down or bring one hand down. So as I go from Kamae, I bring my hands up. As I bring my hands up, I want to bring my knee up at the same time and then push, making sure that my left foot or whatever foot is on the ground, the heel is planted and the toes are tight, right? So I don't want to come up on my toes when I kick. It's too wobbly. I want to be down. So I want to sink a little bit on the kick. I'm already synced some in my Kamae. I want to keep this leg in that same position. I don't want to come too tall. I want to kind of stay down. Almost has that football mentality where the lowest guy wins. I want to be able to stay down, right? So from here, from Kamae, I'm going to try to go slow, bring my knee and my foot up and kick, right? So it comes up, right? Here, it comes up, kicks, backs, up, kick, back, up, kick, back, right? So you can actually think of it as bringing that foot up as one. Foot up, and then two is the kick. 1, 2, it pushes. 1, 2, pushes. Make sure that heel is out. Right? You can practice from a standstill, kicking here. You can do standing leg kicks where you put your hand out and just swing your foot over and over and over until you can get higher and higher and higher. If you have problems kicking, at least belly button up for this kick. This kicks center of the chest, maybe into the face, but definitely center chest, sternum area, what they call maybe the kage, pushing forward and knocking them backwards, you know. So they're attacking and you move and you come forward, boom, and you're knocking them backwards with this kick. So in review, the 4 attacks is Fudoken, right side, left side, H, A, Omote shuto. H. Ura shuto. H. Sokuyakuken. H. Back to Kamae.
Go.
Domo arigato. We're going to talk a little bit about the Jodan Uke. The Jodan, or the Uke, is basically three different types of blocks. You have your Jodan Uke, which is upper level block from your head down to kind of like your sternum. Then you have the Chudan level block, which is like the sternum area down to just below your navel, your belly button. And then we have the Geidan Uke, which is going to be anything from the navel down to the ground. So Jodan is an upper level block, Chudan is a middle level block, and Geidan is a lower level block. Talk a little bit about the block itself. If the circle is too big, you're going to get punched in the face. If the circle is too small, you're going to not have as much power. There's a sweet spot between both of your shoulders coming straight out. If your arm can stay in a circle area in there, I don't need to block anything outside of my body, and I don't need to block anything outside of my body this way. So anything too wide, I don't need to block. But anything kind of in this sweet spot here is where this arm needs to circle for the Jodan, right? And I like it to come up. The hand is open and then closes on impact. Open, closes. And I like it to come from a downward motion up. The Chudan Uke, the same reason. I want that to come from the downward motion across. Now on the Jodan, I'm using my two knuckles. I'm trying to punish, I'm trying to hurt. On the Chudan, I can do that as well with the knuckles, but sometimes also I can come across with the pad. Generally with the Chudan, I'm trying to open something up for my body to enter. Trying to open something up so I can take advantage of something. So I don't want to knock it away where I have to reach for it. So Chudan is usually some type of a thrust, a knife thrust, or a punch to the stomach. And I just want to parry it. I want to move my body and I want to block it. So I can actually use it or grab it or I can punish it. On the Geidan Uke, you can come down with it with the pad, and that's basically going to block it. Again, I'm moving my body and I'm blocking down. But I prefer the two knuckles, and I want to punish that. Generally, the Geidan Uke is against a low attack. If it's going to be some type of a kick, I want to make sure that this is a kick blocking to the calf muscle, or I'm blocking to the inner side of the knee. What I don't want to have happen is have to come down on it and have it be bone on bone, either my forearm bone on the shin, or the back of my hand on the shin, or even my knuckles on the shin. I don't want bone on bone. I want to use my knuckles on flesh. And I'm going to be using my body to actually knock it away. So if someone was to kick at me, I want it to hit and knock the kick away. I don't just want to parry it. I want to actually block it down, right? So for the Jodan Uke, if my hands are down, I come to Kamae, It's 45 degrees, and I don't want to lean with my head. 45 degrees, use my body to strike. Chudan, Geidan, Jodan, Chudan, Geidan. There's a drill that I like to teach the students. It starts from Shizen, goes back to Ichimonji, then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Kamae, Shizen, Kamae, top, 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 top. And that's the best way to practice the Jodan. And get used to doing them in succession, where I'm blocking, 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 learning how to move. Sometimes you can use the same hand to move. Sometimes you can block and punch with the same hand. But the Jodan Uke can be done many different ways. I like to go outside and punch, 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 punch low, punch low. So it doesn't necessarily need to be a circular motion. In some ruhas, like Kotoru, I'm going forward. So I'm striking in, striking in. There's other systems like Kukishinru where I'm pulling, and I'm pulling, and I'm trying to offset the balance of someone. So the Jodan Uke can be variable depending upon the ruha. On the Q level and white belt, do the drill from Shizen, Kamae, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Kamae, up. So let's talk a little bit about the Jodan and the skeet. So the skeet is the traditional punch. So we already talked about from being in Kamae to being able to punch with some type of fortitude. Okay, shimasu.
Yes, miss.
So just as in Kamae, when I'm in Kamae, the slow motion when he punches in, it's important that I go 45 degrees. This hand here is going to come and my body is going to turn. So my hips and everything are into that strike. But my hand, when I strike, is not going to be blown out, so I'm wide open here, right? So when the punch is coming into my face and I move, right, this is going to stop, allowing this hand to be centered. So once I hit, come back center to his eyes, right? One more time. Hit, again, same time. Hey, it's important, right? So there's some details on skeet and Jodan. Thank you. talk a little bit about sounds and the way to communicate. Full disclosure, I've been training since 1985, and I've been to Japan and all around the world and trained with many different grandmasters. And only on a few occasions over that span of time have I done a lot of outdoor training with the grandmasters or even the shihans. On occasion when we would do Togakure-ryu and we trained in that particular scroll, there was more emphasis on it. And I've been to a few seminars where instructors have tried to teach ways of stealth and movement and shinobi principles, but you could tell that they were either using their best judgment over their life of training and their studies, but you could also, they would be honest with you and say that many of the grandmasters are not out running around the woods practicing and training in stealth and camouflage. So a lot of the techniques that I have come from modern military backgrounds. I was in the United States Marine Corps in the infantry, and a lot of these tactics were used and I was exposed to them. And over the years, I've developed ways for my students in the dojo to be able to use these guidelines to be able to communicate. So these sounds that we make are very important. We're trying to mimic an insect. We're trying to mimic something that is natural to nature. When I've been out with beginning students and they're out there and they don't know what's going on and it's dark and they're uncomfortable and they're trying to locate other people, you can just hear them, either making tons of mistakes. One, they're talking in English language, which obviously lets them know that there's people here. And in worst case scenario, sometimes they're actually using people's names. And if you're in a situation where you're trying to be invisible to someone or trying to not be caught by someone or let someone know you're there, the last thing you want is for someone to be calling your name out to prove that, number one, there's people here and the people that they're looking for is here. So learning how to communicate in a discreet way I felt was important, and I wanted to include it into the curriculum. One way to communicate is to make sounds that mimic an insect, and we use that with the TIS or the TIS sound. And you're basically taking the tongue and put it on the top of your mouth, and you're making like a quick kind of like a bang bang with your tongue and pushing air, where it sounds like this. And what you're trying to do is, if you had a group of people and it was in the middle of the woods and these people were skilled, so they were using overlapping shadows and they were using shadow trails and they were using terrain, they were using camouflage principles, they would be very difficult to see for a trained eye, especially if they were learning how to blend in their energies and let that absorb down into the earth. This is a way to communicate. So if at nighttime and I'm moving with a group, I'm going to use a single sound because you can't see hand and arm signals. I'm going to use a single sound to let people know they need to freeze, to stop moving. I think I've seen something, I think I heard something, I feel something, the balance of things have changed. I need everyone to stop, I need everyone to be quiet. So I give a hand and arm signal, but I also give it the signal of the one quick tis. Everybody freezes. Nobody repeats that sound. Sometimes you repeat the hand and arm signals, but when it's the freeze symbol, I just want one, they hear it and they freeze. You just tongue top your mouth, push some air, and make it sound as natural. Go out in nature, find different insects that are making sounds, and when you do this, and you've got another person that's hidden, you make a sound, they wait for a natural timing. And if you hear crickets talking, insects talking, you can hear this natural rhythm of something making a sound, another insect responding as they're trying to find each other. Same thing here. I'm going to make a sound, you hear it, you pause, try to figure out what direction that sound came from, face that direction if possible, and make a sound to communicate. So it's one sound for freeze, two sounds to communicate. When you hear the two sounds, you wait and you respond back. If I need you to move towards me, or I need you to continue to move towards the mission we're on, the trail, the azimuth, whatever we're doing, you'll get three sounds, 1, 2, 3, to let you know to move. So it sounds like this. So again, 1 to freeze, 2 to communicate, 3 to move. And these sounds can change. So example, this video is going out. Thousands and thousands of people are going to see it. They're going to know the basic call sign. You need to know that my advanced students have learned to make very specific insects. And if we're traveling to different states or to different countries, we've learned to mimic those indigenous creatures to be able to make those sounds. There's certain animal sounds that you can make that only come out at night. There's certain animal sounds that only come out in the daytime. There's certain sounds that travel far distances, because with the small tis sound, it's very close. What if I need to communicate with someone who is a quarter mile away and we don't have a walkie-talkie system or a closed communication system or even a cell phone? There's ways we can make animal sounds that are very loud, that travel, that are very common at night. Certain owls are a great example. So we've learned to use those symbols. The one thing you don't want to do is to be out in the shinobi environment and have somebody going, "Hey Dave, is that you? Is that you, Dave?" It just blows everything out of the water. It's much more easy to move with a front stealth. You're being very silent. You have an intention, you think you feel someone or someone's there. You give a quick and you wait. If they're there and they've heard it, they respond. And then you start to get closer to each other. And then if it's the same ranking people are saying, you just keep working. But like say in my case or one of my instructors' cases, if I've located someone who's kind of in an invisible situation or their camouflage is really good and maybe they're deep back or across a river and I don't need to go that direction, they need to actually come to me, or I need to tell everybody to start moving, then you use the 3. And you kind of do it kind of quick. That sounds a lot different than that. Always stays the same, kind of bang bang. The move forward is different. That's obviously not to communicate. So it takes a little bit of practice. In the basic environment, you can blindfold a bunch of people, put them in a room, turn the lights off, and then just kind of give everybody a chance to make a little bit of sound, and you'll be able to hear from your left and your right. You can tell where people are. And if you do it out in nature and you spread out a little bit, you can actually have this sound very natural, where it doesn't sound like there's people in the woods. So I just want to take a couple seconds to explain those sounds. They may be a little bit unique for some people to communicate, but I think once you get your guys out in the woods, and I've been in a situation where I've been with students and we've been somewhere in a public place and I need to get their attention, and I just go, and they could be aisles over, or they could be out in front of me, and they stop, turn, and they look at me. So it's a great way to communicate. And on the highest level, you need to be able to learn to make these sounds with energy, with no sound coming out of your mouth, just with thought and with energy, where people feel those signs. Something for all of us to continue to work on. Thank you. Greetings. I'm going to talk a little bit about front stealth. Front stealth is a way of movement. When I was in the United States Marine Corps, I was watching some of the older veterans, and I was watching them move, especially in the woods, on patrols, when they were on point. I was watching how they kept their head nice and level. I was watching how they picked their feet up straight and not to leave any drag marks. They put their foot down very slow, where they're putting their foot down with their supporting leg, so they weren't actually like taking and stepping forward with their weight. They were using their supporting leg to lower their body weight down to the ground. And I was watching how they moved, and I was comparing that to way I seen a lot of the shinobi training done, or some of the stealth movement done, in the mid-1980s when I started training. There was a lot of people out there. One name I just want to mention is Robert Bussey, and there are some videos that he made. But there was also, when I went to training in the 1980s, there was a lot of this, there was more of this ninja stuff going on. And when I first started training, I was a young guy, and I was really excited about training in this style of martial art. And when you're out there in the woods and people have their full uniforms on for nighttime training, and you're watching people move around, it was very impressive. Probably since maybe 1995 forward, I've seen very little of that type of training. But I also believe that if you're going to do this style of martial art, or you're thinking about safety, being able to move quietly and effectively is something very important. There's many times where standing there and fighting outnumbered people, disadvantaged times, is not the smartest thing to do. Sometimes you need to be able to escape from the situation to be able to live to fight another day. Sometimes you need to be able to get through a dangerous area without being seen, or to make as less noise and to leave as little of a footprint or proof, what they call spores, that you were through the area. So just talking a little bit about the front stealth and the way to move, I'm going to talk a little bit about the footwork. With the front stealth, you want to be able to use your hands in a position where your left hand is guarding from kind of your head level down to the middle part of your body. Your other hand is going to be covering the middle part of your body, and then from your midsection thigh down to your toes, you're feeling with the lower part of your body. So basically I've got a high area that's covered, a middle area that's covered, and I'm feeling with my legs as a low area that's covered. It can be as simple as moving through the woods early in the morning or late at night, and there could be spider webs everywhere. There could be situations where there's traps. I'm not saying like tripwires, but there could be, and there's just traps. So there's a branch, a stick, sticker bushes. Maybe you're moving through a room inside of a house, and there's no power on inside the house, and you have to be able to use your senses, but also be able to use your sense of touch as well. So the front stealth can be done many different ways. But what you want to be able to do is have your left hand out, right hand covering the middle, down in an athletic position, and when you move forward with your legs, lift this leg straight up. Don't drag your foot forward. You want to lift it straight up from where it is. So if it's here, I don't want to bring my way forward and bring this leg and have it drag in any way. From here, I want to be able to lift it up, and then use this foot with balance, and use your supporting leg to kind of lower this down, turning your foot sideways as much as possible. I know if you're wearing like military style boots, it's tough to turn that foot that way, but you want to be able to cut a little bit of an edge, so you're not taking grass that's here and just smashing it straight down. If possible, what you want to be able to do with those blades of grass, instead of crushing it down, which takes a long time, if possible, you want to fold it down. So as you bring your foot down at an angle and you fold that down, when it comes back up in a much more natural position, and it comes back up faster. So bringing that foot straight up, bringing it forward, and using the side edge to cut down, using your back leg to lower it down, is what you want to be able to do. So moving with that, I'm feeling, and I'm actually feeling with this foot and my leg. I'm feeling. And then again, the back leg, supporting leg, lowers your body weight down, all right? So when you move, you want to try to avoid bouncing. You want it to be as smooth as possible. So as you bring your foot up and down, you want to make sure that your head stays nice and level, that it's not bouncing up and down. So if I was to move, I want to be able to move relatively smooth, right? And you see how I'm lifting my legs up, because the grass is going to be at whatever level. If the grass is at shin level, I'll lift over top that. If the grass is at knee level, then I'll have to come even higher to stay above that grass. Making sure that I cut down on an angle, hands out, again here. So if you can see this foot, how it's turned and it's cutting down. right? I'm placing it down with my back leg. And then this hand is coming forward here, turning and cutting down, right, as I move. So you can run with the front stealth, but it's generally done slow. So if I was running through an area, and maybe the last section where it was dangerous, or if I was moving through an area where I need to be cautious, I would use this front stealth to move. And again, if there was no lights on, as I'm moving through it, I'm turning, I can actually feel the walls, I can feel corners, I can use this as I move, right? So the front stealth is just a intelligent, smart way to move through a dangerous area, rather than just trying to, Pink Panther tippy-toe through an area. You want to be able to have some way that you've practiced. You want to have something that you can use your hands so you don't knock things down. You can use your hands to feel for things. If I'm in the woods, I'm using my hands and I'm constantly lifting things over top of my head, pushing things away from my face so I don't get cut. If my hands are down and I'm running through the woods, it only takes one sticker bush in your eye or a stream of cobwebs that you run through that just disorients your mind. So to be able to feel this, plus on the cobweb situation, never break them. If you're out in the woods, just go around them, go under them. If you have to, find that one strand that connects to something and maybe break that down at a lower level so the main web stays in play. There's nothing more obvious than moving down through the trail or through the woods and just seeing spider webs that have all been pushed to the side. And you can obviously see that someone has been through there. So I've had students complain about, oh man, I got a spider web in my face. In some ways, unless it was another shinobi in there, it's a good sign that maybe no one has been through that area just yet. So that's one way that you can use nature. When I was in the Marine Corps on the military side, you definitely wanted to be aware of any type of snare or any type of a trap. Even when I'm putting my foot down to the ground, I want to be able to do that in a way to where it's soft and slow enough to where I can feel. So as I start to put my weight forward and I feel anything metal, or if I feel anything that may be spring-loaded, if I feel anything solid, I don't actually put my weight down on top of it. I can stop. Or if I'm moving slow enough and I actually feel that, then I can go into a plan, have somebody come over, and you go in 45 degrees on a stick, and you try to see if there's anything underneath your foot before you even try to move. That's kind of worst case scenario. But this front stealth can help you balance. It'll help you learn how to move quietly, and it'll give you a function. And when you've got your students out there and you're training with them and everybody's moving this way, you can cut down on the noise and you can cut down on the actual markings that you make by moving this way. If you just herd a bunch of people through an area, you're going to make a lot of noise, you're going to leave tracks, you're going to leave traces. If you learn how to do this front stealth, you'll be able to get these people through that same area with less noise and with less of a footprint that nature is going to recover quickly, so to help from someone tracking you. I've been training for a long time, been out in the woods thousands of times, and I'm telling you, on a fall day and you're moving through crunchy leaves, you're going to make noise. But if you learn how to do this front stealth, you're going to learn how to limit that noise. You're going to learn how to limit the amount of damage you do to the terrain so people can't track you. That's the main purpose of the front stealth. Learning how to move quietly and leaving the terrain as untouched as possible. Thank you.
So, when doing the front stealth, which you just saw, one of the key points that you have to keep in mind is your terrain. When dealing with high grass, when you step on it, you actually leave a path. The worst thing that you can do is drag your feet in regards to stealth. You will leave a trail, simple as that. If I walk with my feet dragging, you can see a clear path in which I went. Animals leave this trail, and it's definitely people do. So when doing proper stealth technique, what you need to do is raise your legs. So when I get into the front stealth technique, and I place my foot, I have to raise it up, choose my next placement. I can even nestle my foot into the grass as I come over, and I want to go for the places that are already naturally divots. These could be left behind by deer or a number of other animals, and I want to take advantage of them to hide my natural trail. So I step as high as I can, looking for proper placement. My weight is on my grounded leg. I place my leg, and then I transfer the weight. I don't lean forward with my weight already going onto the leg. This is a misstep. Too much weight, too many signs of where I've been. So this is the secret behind front stealth and high grass. So one other key note behind hiding your steps when doing front stealth is that when you do your placement, regardless of how good you are or the best holes that you pick, you will leave a hole where you step. It's inescapable, but let's make the best of it. So after I did my first step, I transitioned to my next. Because I know where I am, I'm able to turn, take the time. If I just jumped off the trail, I could create a buffer where I hide my steps and go back to using a normal stealth run. But to create this buffer, what I do is I reach back and I naturally fluff the foliage. This makes it look less like a person came through here. And then I would continue my steps. But remember, this is only a buffer. I would do this maybe like 12, 15 to 20 feet tops. And then I would go back to using regular front stealth or running towards my next target. So this is something that you can do to once more hide your step. Step, take the time, fluff, come back, fluff, and then go. So that is another tip behind front stealth.
Let's talk a little bit about hand and arm signals. Again, this is a communication tool. Like the sounds that we make, they try to eliminate the possibility of there being another person in the area, trying to make something sound natural. The same thing when you're in a situation where you're in a group of people and you're trying to communicate and everyone's just talking, you've always got somebody in the group that's going to be either too loud, confused, lost, especially if you're having people come and visit you that's never trained before, that doesn't have any military background. And to be honest, some people don't even have any common sense. So you're out in the woods and you're trying to communicate. You're just trying to get an information sent to people without making any noise. The only way to be able to do that is with hand and arm signals. You can do it with flashes of light. You can do it with colors, rock formation. I know there's other things you can do, but when you're moving a group of people, the hand and arm signals are very important. Even again, back in my military days, this was something that was very important to be able to communicate, especially in a very dangerous situation. So I'm just going to briefly go over some of the hand and arm signals and tell you a little bit about what they're for. The first one is forward. This is basically getting a group of individuals and getting them to move, right? So again, we have the sound for that, 3, but we also have moving your hand forward. So you're just telling them, hey, let's go, so we're moving forward. And sometimes at nighttime, I'll give the and then I'll start to move, right? So if it's like dusk, early at night, or in the morning, where you can visually see a hand signal. And also just to let you know, if there is light, you can do 1 flash with a red bulb for freeze, 2 to communicate, 1, 2, 3 to move forward. So just like the sounds, you can use light to communicate to have people moving forward. But the hand and arm signal to move forward is basically here. That's to move forward. The next one is the symbol for stop. That's just basically your open hand. So I'm going forward, and then maybe the symbol for stop. The symbol for stop, that basically means your feet can no longer move, but your eyes can move around, you can look around, you can get a drink of water. It's just basically to get everybody stopped. Maybe there's something I'm a little bit cautious about, maybe there's something I need to check, but I basically need to stop the entire group from moving forward. but it's not necessarily a life or death situation. But you definitely don't move your feet. When I give you to stop, and you're moving along, you're moving, I give you to stop, you put the foot down and you don't move anymore. And you can be looking, but don't move your feet. That's stop, right? So the next one is to get down, right? To get down. So if I give the signal for stop, and you see me down, and then the leader is going to slowly get down. You don't drop. You don't want any kind of quick movement. Sometimes you may need to move down fast, but you want to move down smooth, right? You want to move down as smooth as you can to get down. Quick motions attract the eyes. You see a bunch of birds fly away. You know, you see something go screaming by you, it catches your eye. So you want to try to move down smooth. So even give the symbol smooth, like don't drop your hand quickly. But in some ways you can drop your hand at the speed that you want everyone to go down. So you can use this as a measuring stick. If I drop my hand down this slow, I'm going to be lowering myself down at the same pace. If I need someone to drop a little faster because someone's coming quickly, I can do a little bit faster. So the speed of this can generally set the speed of everyone dropping. But basically you want to take this and get everybody down. Wherever their feet are, they're going to try to put their knees where their feet were touching. So if they're getting down to one knee, put your knee in that foot. That falls into like a pace count situation to where you can put your foot right back to that spot. So if you were doing a pace count, you can stay consistent with that. So this is get down. Then obviously the next one is to get up. You're just going to raise your hand up. So if we're moving along, and just if we're down, everybody's down, then I can have everybody get up. You know, just by raising your hand up. You can do it kind of quick, but you got to be careful because this could look like another symbol. So you just one stroke, just let everyone know to get up. You know what I'm saying? Just like that. And then you're going to start to rise up with everything as well. So that is up. The next one is freeze. Freeze is where a fist is put out. So if I'm moving and you got the halt and I go to a fist, that means unlike stop where your feet don't move but you can move around, your eyes can move around, freeze is you don't move. Period. Nothing moves. No sound. Freeze. Statue. This is a situation where you give freeze. There's something, there's trouble coming, there's something, all noise needs to stop. I've either visually seen something, someone is approaching I haven't identified yet, and I need no more noise to come from the group. I don't know if you're moving in one person or 50 people. When you give that symbol, it needs to be passed back to everyone. Everybody stops moving. That's freeze. So again, the difference between stop, hand open, feet don't move, but you can look around a little bit. Try not to make any noise, but you don't have to statue up. When you get the freeze, nothing moves. And you stay that way for as long as it takes. Generally after freeze, you're going to get a couple other signals to be able to move or do something right away. The next one is scatter, right? So scatter is very common after freeze. So you're moving along, you get the stop sign, then you get the freeze. Scatter is the fingers open and the hand shakes back and forth quickly, and then I'm going to point to a direction that I need everyone to scatter to. So if I'm moving down a trail and I'm moving, I can get the symbol for scatter, and I want everyone to scatter to the right. If I give the symbol here and I'm scattering everybody and I'm going to turn this way here, I want everyone to get to that side of the trail. So you can scatter right, you can scatter left, you can scatter everybody down off to the trail, just moving at a 10-foot pace, 10-foot trail, and just get off and get down, right? So with scatter, you're going to leap, one leap. You need to practice leaping that right and left 10 feet as a minimum. So when you get the symbol for scatter, you leap as far as you can in one leap, 10 foot, and you get down. Once you get down, don't crawl to a cover, don't crawl to a dark spot, don't crawl into a ditch. You get down. I want everyone to be moving off the trail, down, and silence. Scatter, boom, jump, down, silence, no movement. Once you hit the ground, you're down. It's almost like the freeze. I don't care if you jumped into a pile of snakes or you're laying in glass and you're bleeding. You don't move. You stay there, you just don't move, right? Generally when you get the scatter and it's off, you're just down for a few seconds, or if it's a more serious situation, once you get the scatter, you're going to take a staggered position back in towards the trail, setting up an ambush situation. So you'll know what to do. You probably won't be there too long. But scatter is shake and point to go to that direction for scatter. The next arm signal is for leader up. So maybe you've got a group of teams. You've got maybe an A team, B team, C team, D team. You've got different teams, and you've got maybe 3 people per team and maybe a team leader. Or you've got a group of 9, you've got another group of 9, and you've got a team leader. But there's one leader for the whole group and maybe individual squad leaders. And let's say you've got a group moving out in a wedge formation and you need to get the person that's either from point or back, or you need another leader that came up, some information just came in, and you need to pass that information back. So you're going to give the signal for halt, right? And then you're going to go ahead and grab your lapel, and then you're going to tap it 3 times, trying to make a little bit of noise so if it's dark you can hear it. 3 taps. So if you get the command and you hear that, that's a sign for the leader to come forward. And then you can say, hey, I had a point man that's up there. You know, you give some details about the information, you're passing it up to the leader so the leader can make a decision for the whole group. Because in many cases, the leader knows the full plan and nothing's been disclosed to the whole group yet. So that information is going to be important to him for his strategy to accomplish the mission. So you need to call for the leader. You get everybody down first. So you give the stop, you get everybody down, and then you give the 3 taps. Then the leader comes up to the front group. You get into a huddle really close at a very low monotone. Don't whisper, because whispers carry. Low monotone voice, and you just talk a little bit and you tell them about what's going on. You may have to look at a map. You may have to find out exactly where you are. He may give you some certain commands. He may go back and tell someone to have everybody get off the trail and take a position because we may be here for a while. So in that case, it's not a scatter. You're just getting off the trail. You're getting down. You're very alert. You're going to be assigned a territory for you to be able to monitor while somebody goes out and gathers some information. So the leader up is an important signal. Next is the head count. That's basically tapping the head 3 times. I may be up in a point, or I may be a leader, or I may have gotten some information, or maybe we just went across something that was dangerous and I want to make sure I've got everybody with me. So I'm going to have somebody that I trust that's going to go and do a head count, and I think I have another video on that later that shows exactly how I want that done. Also, you have pace count. Pace count is the same situation where I'm basically going to have the signal for like maybe halt, and I'm going to actually bring my foot up. I'm going to touch it 3 times. That's going to let people know that same thing. It's going to make a different sound than leader up. You know what I mean? I hear it. Or my boot, or whatever it is. But generally, it's just a quick sign. You know, I'm going to have that. And they're basically whoever is designed in my pace count. If I have groups where I've got 9, 9, 9, or I've got 3, 3, 3, whatever it is, you know, maybe every 3rd or 4th group, I'm going to have somebody that's been giving me a pace count, so I learn how to move. A lot of this can be alleviated with electronic devices, but if they fail, or you're in a situation where they're not working, you don't have them, having someone doing a pace count so you know exactly how far you traveled is very important. So pace count is something we'll get into later in the curriculum. The next symbol is the symbol for look. So I'm moving forward. I think I see something. I'm not sure. I maybe need to verify. I hear a sound coming from a certain direction. I get the signal for down. I get everybody down. Then I point to my eyes, and I point in a direction that I think I see something. And I want everyone looking that way, so I've got multiple eyes on whatever that target may be. I want people to be aware of what's going on. There's other hand and arm signals that we don't, you know, I can't put everything in the manual. It would just be thousands of pages. But basically, when you get the symbol for look and you point, you can actually put the finger up for like 2. And then you could use a symbol for like walking. I've got 2 people walking, you know, towards us. And you can do all that with just and you just said a sentence without saying a word. And that's the beauty of hand and arm signals. So that is look. The same thing for listen is the exact same way. If I'm moving along and get it right down, I'm going to go ahead and just grab my ear and I'm going to point in a direction. Now generally this is a leader in a small squad. If I've got 100 people, I'm not going to give this signal out. I'm going to give it to maybe my squad. If I'm in a small unit, we're out on the point and we're trying to be ahead of the main group, and I'm trying to communicate with them like, hey, I think I heard something. I'll give the signal for halt or maybe even freeze, and then me only, I'm going to slowly move to my ear and jerk it a little bit, wiggle a little bit, and then I'm going to point in a direction that I heard something, again, to get everybody's direction. All right? So that is listen. touch your ear, listen. If you're close to people, you can tap on their ear and then take their face and turn it. So if you're kind of down in a small group and you think you hear something, you're the only person who hears something, you can give the quick and then touch their ear and then turn their face in a direction. There's ways you can communicate. It's a lot better than going, hey, be quiet. I think I hear something. Everybody look over that direction. That's just not how we do it. So you need to hand arm signals for that. And the last one is run or double time. So if I'm moving everybody out and we're moving, I give a halt signal and maybe I give the freeze and maybe we're down and maybe something went across and we've got just a small window to be able to get everybody here. Or I may want to go back the other direction. Just taking your fist and pumping it up and down and starting to move in the direction that you want to go is double time or run. So you're giving forward, you give halt, and then you give the double time signal, and then you start to move, right? So that's the symbol for run. Those are the hand and arm signals that I felt that were important to add into the curriculum. I think if you work with them on your own and you work with them with your group, you're going to be able to communicate anywhere without making any kind of human sounds. That's going to let people know that there's a person in the area. So
George, head count. What's the sign for head count? Okay, so it's 3 taps on the head. The proper way to do the head count is if when the leader, say we were both on the same team and the leader was to tell me to do a head count, he gives me the signal for head count. I'm going to acknowledge that I'm going to go down the line of people. I'm going to go to the first person behind me and I'm going to touch him. You're number 1. I'm going to go to the next person. You're number 2, number 3, number 4. And I'm going to say it out loud, but I'm going to say it quietly. You're number 2. You're number 3. And I'll go down. Let's say there's 30 people. I get to the very end of the 30th person. I'm going to run all the way back. Now you're the leader. So I've just tapped the person. You're number 30. I come all the way back to the leader. I touch myself and say, I'm 31, you're 32. So you count the squad first. Then in front of the leader, you count yourself so he knows that I've been counted. And you also touch and say the leader's number so he knows he's included in the squad. So if I sent you out on a mission and you went out with 25 people, and you've been out there for a day or two and a lot of stuff's been going on and we just went through a hard run or crossed a river and we want to make sure we have everybody back, you're going to want to get somebody to do a head count. So you need to teach a few of your people that you trust to go out and count. If you come back and say the number was 30 and I come back and go, I'm 27, you're 28. Now the leader knows he's 2 men down. Then he's got to make a strategy to figure out which 2 are missing and how to recover. Any questions on that?
Necessary.
Right.
So that's the first video. That's Mukyu. That's white belt. In the United States Ninpo Academy, some of you have already purchased the manuals. You're going to use the manual in conjunction with this video to help you train. Other people, this may be the first time you've seen one of the videos from the United States Ninpo Academy. But this curriculum here is based off of 10 levels. This is just the first level, the beginning, Mukyu. Each belt has a variety amount of training. So if you don't have the manual and you're interested in the complete story of what the United States Ninpo Academy has to offer on a Q level, the manual will be a great investment. And I'm going to have some videos in the future that's going to coincide with the manual, at least for the first couple belts. And I hope to have those out within the next year. In addition to the training with the video, you're probably going to need to find some training partners, someone that can help you with this material. It's very difficult to do it 100% on your own. So you're going to need to start to look around and talk to people. Give them a link to this video, have them watch it, have them see the curriculum and say, hey, does this look like something you want to get involved with? It doesn't cost us anything. The training on this video is for free. There is a manual that is $50 that goes from white belt all the way up to black belt. And it's a great investment. The book is a plethora of Ninpo knowledge. It has a ton of regular taijutsu training, unarmed, multiple attackers, tons of weapons training, including the Japanese katana, the hanbo, the jo, the rokushakubo, the yari, the naginata, tanto jutsu, which is the knife skills, firearm disarms, firearms marksmanship, kusari gama, which is the sickle and chain, manriki kusari, which is the weighted chain, and probably more than I'm forgetting right now. But it's full of weapons, and it's full of self-defense. But most of all, it really gives you a complete picture of what Ninpo is all about. So the manual is available for those who do not have it and would like to continue to train. If you've watched this video, you're going to probably say to yourself, this is just white belt. There's a lot of material here for just a white belt test. And each one of the curriculums in the United States Ninpo Academy is about as long, maybe 10 to 15 chapters. The whole entire manual has over 400 individual patterns that must be memorized and learned for testing. But step by step, it can be accomplished. Many people have done it. Maybe you're one of them. So I challenge you to find yourself a training partner, get yourself a manual, train with this video, train with the continuing videos I'm going to make, and become a student of the United States Ninpo Academy. Even if you don't become a student, I hope you use this material in your own training group and in your own life, and I hope it benefits you. If you're interested in getting rank, all you need to do is take the material that's in this video, simply learn it, train with a few friends, set up a cell phone or an actual video camera, and record yourself. Record yourself doing the material and look at it. And when your material is very close to what I've presented today, you're ready. Send that information to me. I'm going to review it. If it looks good and it's within the standards and parameters that I expect, you're going to pass. And then you're going to get a diploma from Japan, signed by the Grandmaster of Ninpo, Dr. Masaki Hatsumi. So this is a legitimate way to get information directly from Japan through the United States Ninpo Academy, no matter where you live. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, I hope you've learned something, and I hope it challenges you. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me on the information I'm about to leave. Have a great day. Domo arigato.